Do you think that acting is a great art?
No.
What is it?
Painting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think acting is. I think some people's acting might be said to be, but not my acting.
Then why did you want to become an actress?
I have no idea why I became an actor. I wasn't very bright. So, no, not bright, not too intelligent. And I thought I was a good golfer, but sports don't last. I would love to have been a tennis champion, but I wasn't that good. So what was I going to do? Persuade someone to marry me.
Well, you did that too.
I did that early. A nice man who gave me everything I wanted and started me out in this profession.
After you had much success in early films, you came to New York to work in a play called The Lake.
Yes.
Your disaster. How do you deal with that kind of failure?
Well, that's why I wrote the book. Because I think that was a very, very difficult thing for me to deal with. And I thought, what went wrong? How could I, an actor by then, 2 or 3 years, have walked through a performance, which I did, absolutely walked through it, thinking, God, I wish I weren't here. Oh, I wish I were dead. Oh, I hope this ends. With no emotion of any kind.
So what did you learn about defeat? What did you get from that?
Well, from defeat, I learned you have to know a little bit what you're doing. And you are the only person who is to blame in your life, really. You can't move on saying, well, I don't want to go this way. I'm going this way because you're pushing me. Don't do that. There's one person to blame, and that is you.
It's rather ironic, I guess, that the most famous lines when people do imitations of you, and I think of it looking at those lilies behind you, are the lines from...
Calla lilies are in bloom again, from the lake.
And that's the line that's lived on to...
Such is, the calla lilies are in bloom again. Such a strange flower. I placed them on I carried them on my wedding day, and now I place them here in memory of someone who is gone.
Why do you still...
I don't even know who was gone.
But you still remember the line. You cry very often in films. Do you ever cry in real life?
Cry?
Cry.
No, don't cry.
Only in films?
I don't cry.
In films you do?
Yeah. So they'll know I'm sad.
I see. Are you ever in doubt?
Practically always.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yet you're so definite.
Yes, I am. But you might as well be.
But inside, you really are not sure? It's just outside?
Sure.
You have influenced my life. I have believed everything you've said, and now you tell me you're not really sure at this late date?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But you say it definitely.
It's all I've got. I have to say it. The soup is good. Eat it. You know, what the hell? You have to be definite.
Now we get to something that you and I have been discussing for years, and that is, you have often said that women who want a real career should not get married.
Well, I'm one track. So I just say, I can't. I can't. I think if you think about yourself all the time, and if you're an actor, your inclination is to think about yourself, then what about the husband and children? You're not thinking about them. So I'm very extreme in my point of view.
What do you think will happen to Jane Fonda and Ted Turner, two very strong, successful, famous people?
Talking to someone who doesn't know who Ted Turner is, so this is really embarrassing. I mean, I know he's the head of something, but I don't know what. And if she likes him, I think that's fine.
This is the first time that you have discussed your romantic relationships in your book.
Yes.
And one of the most interesting, and one you have not talked about, is Howard Hughes.
Oh, we were making a movie, and an airplane, Howard flew in, landed in the adjoining lot, and came over to lunch.
It's a great entrance.
I thought a little too great. So I was mean. I never looked at him at all. I just looked this way and that and paid attention to everyone else and was furious with Carrie.
You went with Howard Hughes for quite a few years, 3 years?
2 or 3, something like that, 4.
Why didn't you marry him?
Didn't want to.
Loved him?
Liked him.
Yeah.
Liked him very much. He was nice and a very interesting man. But again, I didn't want to get married.
And she never did, although there were other men like Leland Hayward, a famous agent and producer. And then she met Spencer Tracy. In your book, you say to your readers, now be patient. Eventually, I will talk about Spencer Tracy.
Yes.
I have been patient.
Yes.
When you finally discuss Spencer Tracy, you say, few people know what they mean when they say, I love you. What did those words mean to you?
Well, what does the word love mean? It means total interest. I think the reason very few people really fall in love with anyone is that they're not willing to pay the price.
What's the price?
The price is that you adjust yourself to them. Now, if you love back, that's great. Then there's no problem. And if you're not loved back, then it can be a problem.
Do you feel you were loved back?
Oh, Barbara, you're very smart. I knew you were going to ask me that. I think he hung around for quite a while.
See, you say it's an amazing relationship because you say that in all the years you were together, 27 years,
yeah,
that you never knew how Spencer Tracy felt about you.
Well, I never really did.
Didn't he ever say, I love you?
I don't remember.
Wouldn't you remember that?
I think I would, if I would believe it. But maybe I was reluctant to believe it.
Why?
Well, I can't imagine being in love with me. Fool to there. That was a witty remark.
Was this the only man you were really in love with?
I would say so.
Here you are and were one of the most independent women, and yet you write that if Spencer Tracy disliked something about you, some quality, some aspect of your appearance, you would change.
Yes.
What happened to the independence? You who represent independence. If he didn't like it, you change?
Yeah.
He said, I don't like this outfit. Please put on a skirt and high heels.
Yes, I would have. But he wasn't that silly.
What were the qualities that he didn't like that he wanted you to change? Do you remember?
Oh, the obvious ones, you know, that I'm rather loud. I speak up instead of down. And some of the things that I like to do, he didn't like to do.
But she never asked him to change. He had been married since 1928. He was a Catholic. He and his wife Louise had 2 children, a daughter Susie and a son Johnny. Johnny was born deaf, and Mrs. Tracy devoted most of her time and energy to him. Spencer Tracy was married, and he never divorced his wife.
That's right.
Did you ever want him to, so that you could have lived openly together?
No. No, and we lived openly enough together.
But you have an uncompromising sense of right and wrong, a line that you don't cross.
Yes.
Did it ever bother you that you were having an affair with a married man with 2 small children?
No. No.
That was the line you could cross?
No, I didn't think that way, but I certainly had no intention of breaking up his relationship with his wife.
The Hollywood press, and at that time the gossip columnists, they let you alone.
They let us alone because I think they thought that we made a great deal of effort not to sort of parade ourselves around.
Do you think the physical part of a relationship is very important?
Well, I would have to say yes, I think so, don't you? Or do you not think it's important?
My interview
No, my question. You know what I mean? It's how can one answer that question? Why do you like someone? I can't answer that question. Is it that you like to live with them, cohabit with them? I don't know. Or is it that you just admire them? I don't know. With Spencer, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you why I felt the way I felt about Spencer. I slept in one end of the house and Spencer slept in the other end of the house, and he apparently got up to go and make himself a cup of tea, and the kettle was always boiling on the stove. I heard him get up. I'm a very light sleeper. And I heard him go into the kitchen, so I put on my slippers and robe and went out to the kitchen, and as I was standing before the kitchen door, I heard a clunk in the other room, and Spencer was dead. He'd fallen down near the stove and was just dead. And I called Mrs. Tracy and the kids, and they came, and they made the arrangements.
That night was the first time that you met Mrs. Tracy.
Yes.
Did Mrs. Tracy know of your relationship?
I'm sure she must have sort of gathered about my relationship, but she refused to accept it. I could understand that. And she had done what I would have done in the same situation. I would have taken care of Johnny, and I would have lost Spencer. So you can't, I don't think she, you know, what do? You can't be definite about everything in life.
You did not go to Spencer Tracy's funeral.
No, but I was not his wife.
Has there ever been a man since Spencer Tracy who really interested you?
No, but I mean, then I was old, so it didn't matter.
You weren't that old. You were in your, what, 50s?
Mm.
That's...
Yeah, well,
still possible.
If I'd been interested in tying myself up with someone, but I felt that I had perfection, so why bother?
You know, there are pictures of him and mementos of him, you know, all over the house. Yet, you wrote a letter about him, which you read on public television, in which you said, I never knew you, I never knew you.
I don't think I ever did, but then I don't think you ever know anybody.
Since we're never going to know you totally, could you finish this sentence for me? Katharine Hepburn is...
adorable. What do you want me to say? Or is it jackass?
Which do you prefer?
The last one. It's safer.
I'm crazy about you, Katharine Hepburn, jackass or adorable.
Well, you're very sweet. You're very sweet. You always call me Miss Hepburn, and I call you Barbara. So why don't you shift and call me Kate? I'd like that.